to hear this live? On this episode of China Uncensored, I am Rubber and you are one of the most powerful politicians in the world. Hello and welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. Did everyone have a good Labor Day? We need to make them believe this is a live studio audience. I spent my Labor Day at the half-off Ray-Ban sale. But while the rest of America was taking one last trip to the beach, President Obama was hard at work at the G20 summit in scenic Hangzhou, China. What makes it scenic is that you can actually see it. Unlike other cities in China where you can measure smog by the pound. In fact, the Hangzhou government recently issued a reminder to visitors from other parts of China. No need to worry, that big ball of fire in the sky is just the sun. So, President Obama was in Hangzhou for the G20 summit, which is the annual meeting of leaders of the world's 20 biggest economies. China's state-run media declared the summit a huge success and proved it with a slideshow of Xi Jinping shaking hands with other world leaders. I know they're trying to make Xi Jinping look powerful, but I gotta say, with every photo, he looks more and more like he has to pee. It's because it's Japan. And it was also a success according to this Reuters article because open confrontation was largely avoided. Setting the bar pretty low there. That's like saying Thanksgiving was a success this year because Aunt Marge didn't get drunk and accuse Uncle Al of making her give up her dreams of being an artist. Again. The success of the G20 is good news for Chinese authorities, who congratulated themselves on their speed gentrification of Hangzhou. They made the city appear clean, upwardly mobile, and harmonious. Clean by shutting down factories to reduce pollution, upwardly mobile by forcing millions of poor migrant workers to leave the city, and harmonious by arresting human rights activists. Thereby solving all of China's fundamental problems. After all, if you can't see it, it doesn't exist. Which is the way I approach my student loan debt. We've got a lot of people who can relate to that. Why was the Chinese regime so hung up on having the summit be perfect? Hosting prestigious international events is part of their decades-long push for increasing their soft power. No, soft power is not the last man standing in a pillow fight. Soft power is projecting a positive image of China that will get them increasing influence and respect on the global stage. Like when Kanye West says he'll stop being a douchebag. Hey, that's a hygienic product and a compliment. But it didn't go totally smoothly for China. When President Obama landed in Hangzhou for the G20, he couldn't get off the plane because someone forgot to bring the stairs. That made it look like China was snubbing the US, which Chinese officials deny. And I actually believe them, because forgetting to take passengers off the plane happens all the time. Anybody here ever flying to Newark? Yeah. But hey, Obama was cool as that. He just went out the cargo bay door. I'm out of here in 6 months. I could give a diddly squat. And that would have been fine, except that US reporters went to go watch Obama getting off the plane. And they were stopped by Chinese authorities. And when the reporters protested, one Chinese official shouted, "This is our country, this is our airport." And then the US Secret Service was all like, well, your airport sucks. And then the Chinese Ministry of State Security was like, your face sucks. And then the US State Department was all like, fine, China, we won't sit with you at the G20 lunch table, and neither will Germany or France. Obviously, that last part was a joke. It would never get that ridiculous. We wouldn't have actual government agencies getting involved.
But actually, Chris?
What's that, Shelley?
Well, the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency actually did respond. They tweeted, "Classy as always, China."
That's a pretty good one.
Oh, that's not a joke, Chris. I've got the tweet right here.
Wow, I guess global politics really is like middle school. How did Chinese officials respond?
Well, luckily, Twitter's banned in China.
Right. If you can't see it, it doesn't exist. The point is, there was some controversy at the G20. In fact, the diplomatic fight inspired the Globe and Mail to publish this article about how the cracks are showing behind China's soft power push. China spends an estimated $10 billion a year on external propaganda. But the Globe and Mail says the rest of the world isn't so impressed anymore. They quote China experts comparing China today to South Africa during apartheid. They say China's government is much worse now than it was 5 years ago. According to the article, 2016 China is so different from the China of 2008, which held the world spellbound with its sweep of modernization, the skill of its planners, and the competitiveness of its athletes. Yes, 2008 China was so dreamy. But then it put on some weight, grew a beard, and kept hanging out with supermodels nearly half its age. But here's the truth about 2008 China, the one that supposedly held the world spellbound. Here's how the Chinese government prepared for the 2008 Summer Olympics in Beijing. They guaranteed that the city would be clean, modern, and harmonious. Clean by shutting down factories to reduce pollution, modern by demolishing 500,000 homes and displacing more than 1 million people, and harmonious by arresting human rights activists. Sound familiar? Look, it's not that the Chinese regime has suddenly and unexpectedly gotten worse. It's been bad for a long time. But they were just better at hiding it, and most of us, honestly, weren't paying that much attention. I mean, we didn't even have China Uncensored back then, so how could you know? So it may seem like if you can't see it, it doesn't exist. But the good news is that now, more and more, we can see it. Just like the air in Beijing. So what do you think of the G20 and China's soft power push? Leave your comments below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time. This episode was filmed at the YouTube Space in New York before a live studio audience. The YouTube Space is a set of studios that YouTube provides for free to content creators like me. Now I know, just last week I criticized YouTube for demonetizing my videos for not being advertiser friendly. I stand by that criticism. But at the same time, the YouTube Space here in New York is great, and they've been really supportive. Their staff worked hard to support the fan meetup event and this live audience taping. I also want to thank Big Apple Studios, which provided the camera crew, who also did an excellent, well, you judge for yourself. And I want to thank you, my amazing viewers and Patreon supporters, for helping me get here and support a really talented team. Your contributions are helping keep the show going so we can bring it to the next level.